Actually, from singing as a kid on the radio, then from high school, I went to Chicago and I sang in community choirs. In church choirs, I didn't do so much as church choir, but we had a group that was made up of people that lived in Chicago, Indiana, and Wisconsin, and we would come together every Friday evening, and we would have a rehearsal, and we would go and sing that night at 10 o'clock. And from there, we did concerts all over, and we'd travel and go to concerts. But when I moved back here, Reverend Brewster told my dad that he wanted me to let him be my manager. I said, okay. Well, I was ready to sing. You know, I didn't do that much when I was living here as a kid, you know, because people know you're a kid, but everybody don't come where you go to church. Mm-hmm. Well, it ends up that people were asking for me to sing, and they were telling them yes. But I would see them later, and they said, you didn't come to our program. Why? They told me that you were going to come. I said, what are you talking about? Well, I got blackballed by Reverend Brewster. He did not want his singers to go and sing for other ministers. And I had to ask him about it, and he told me this. I said, well, why you all tell people that I'm coming to sing and I don't show? He said, oh, you know I don't believe in sharing my singers. So when I realized that was actually true, I said, well, these ministers are not going to cross Reverend Brewster. Mm-hmm. They respect him too much. So I've always listened to jazz, always, and blues, but I said, I'm going to start singing in a club. Mm-hmm. But I sang with Madame McLeave, the opera singer. Her husband was McLeave, the dentist, right there on Vance. Well, she would have me sing for weddings and things. When I was a kid, I left that out. Mm-hmm. But in Samuel Spann from Pentecostal Temple. But when I started singing in the nightclub, I kind of liked it. And that's how I started singing jazz, was because I felt I got blackballed. Mm-hmm. To Reverend Brewster, because he didn't want to share me with other people. And he told me, he says, well, you know, they steal my music. Clara Ward, James Cleveland, all of them coming. They would wear this little tape recorder in their pocket, mm-hmm. and they would record the music, and they'd go back and record it on the wax. So he said they stole it. I said, no, they didn't. You put it out there for them. Because he would always do the Baptist convention with all of his new music, and Queen C. Anderson would sing it. And that's how Mahalia Jackson ended up with that, How Got Over, or whatever that song was. That was Queen C. Anderson's song, and Reverend Brewster has sheet music for it, but they recorded it, and she made it big. Mahalia Jackson did. And other people would come and do the same thing. So if you don't put it down on paper and get it recorded as yours, it's not yours. But that's how I started singing from gospel. But I was coached in Chicago by professional people that come when I was doing concerts. They would come in and coach me with phrasing and stuff like breathing. Mm-hmm. But I really don't read music. But I can sight read. And that's the extent of my training from Miss Jones and getting coached in Charles Clancy of the Voices of Melody in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you took that turn to jazz and blues, how did Reverend Brewster take it? Like,
well, we really didn't talk about that because I stopped going to the church. Okay. I stopped going to the church. I was really upset that I wasn't able to sing what I knew how to do well. Mm-hmm. And then people just wouldn't come to you. When they come to you, then you disappoint them and they don't come back anymore. Mm-hmm. but I never looked back. I just kept going. I never had that conversation at all. And I really never thought of it till somebody asked me a week or two ago, how did I get into jazz over at Bonanza School when we were over there?
Mm-hmm.
I had never thought of it until we came out of the school that day, how I really switched over. And that was just something I just automatically did, you know.
Where are some of the places you perform and some of the artists you perform with once you got into your music career?
I used to sing with the opera group, African American opera group in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to sing with Charles Clancy and the Voices of Melody, Charles Geiger and the Eminems, which was Donny Hathaway used to be with us all the time. Reverend Clay Evans Church in Chicago, the Ship, and then we would travel to go to different states in Washington, D.C. and different places, and I've been to Africa to sing over in Ghana. And the jazz musicians there went to school in New York. And every song we came out with, they said, what key? And this play that they didn't have no music in front of them. Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been to Canada, different places to sing, but, and I still go. If you go to one place, somebody will hear you. And they says, do you come to so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so? Sure.
Yeah.
So they'll pay for you to come, and then I'll sing for them too. And I've done concert over here at Rhodes College. And I think I'm going to do one over here with the students in October. Yeah, and they're going to do a tribute to the musician for the first music teacher at Bonanza School.
Mm-hmm. Can you think of any life-defining moments or performances?
Any what?
Life-defining moments or performances that you were a part of or saw? Or
Yeah, I sang with Ethel Waters and Charlie, what's his name? The guy that played the piano on Charlie commercial, Bobby Short. We were in Chicago over on the lake, and I sang with them, and I sang for the Alvin Ailey dancers. Didn't know who they were. But when you look back on it,
Yeah.
those were some wonderful times when we actually were doing and sang with Donny Hathaway and all of those folk like that. It was just so inspiring. It wasn't at that time, but after you realize what you had done, there was some life experience moments.
today, do you go back and forth in between singing jazz, blues, gospel?
Oh, when I do concerts, I do it all. Start at the top with classical music,
Mm-hmm.
coming down with secular music. Then I do spirituals, gospel, and I throw some jazz in it. Oh, and when I sing in nightclubs, I do Summertime, I do Carmen, I do different stuff when I'm singing in night, and I do spirituals, Amazing Grace. When I worked on the cruise line at Delta Queen Steamboat Company, I did it all. We did Broadway shows, but they would have me to sing other stuff that they didn't do in Broadway shows as well. But no, I sing a variety of music whenever I do concerts, and nobody never complained about it. I would go from the Christian Science Church in Chicago to the Kojic, to Baptist, Methodist. I would sing in all of the churches.